If you ever stepped into a new leadership role and thought, how do I get this team to trust me fast? You're in the right place. Today we are breaking down how to build trust quickly when you are leading a new team. With practical steps, you can start right away.
Hello, and welcome to The Leadership Effect. I'm Camilla.
And I'm Catherine. This is your space for honest, down-to-earth conversation about what leadership really looks like. No jargon, zero fluff.
In each episode, we'll share practical tips you can use right away and stories from the field to help you grow as a leader, wherever you are in your journey. Our goal is to give you fresh inspiration and encouragement, even when leadership feels messy or hard.
Yeah, and it does, doesn't it? But today's topic is one we see in our coaching sessions over and over, and it's all about how to build trust with a new team.
And it's a crucial question. Trust is the currency of leadership. Without it, people hold back. Communication is guarded and collaboration suffers. With it, everything, ideas, problem solving, and results moves faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not just talking about one kind of trust. There are certainly different level of trust. There's reliability trust, the belief that you'll do what you say you'll do. So, for example, when Camilla says to me she'll get the project plan done by Friday, I trust her. She does it.
Exactly. But then there's a deeper level, vulnerability based trust. This is where psychological safety lives. It's the trust that allows you to admit a mistake, say, I'm sorry, or ask for help without fearing you look incompetent. When you reach that level, that's where the real magic happens.
Yeah, and it's tricky, isn't it? Building trust takes time. And as a new leader, we often don't have this time. We expect it to deliver a result while also winning your team over.
That's why we wanted to share 3 practical ways you can accelerate trust building from day one. Number 1, show them you see them and hear them. Number 2, be consistent and predictable. And number 3, share your humanity.
Yeah. Let's start with that first one. Show them you see and hear them. One of the quickest way to do this is a listening tour. Camilla, I actually remember when you took over our old team, there had been a lot of change. And honestly, we were all a bit wary of who is this new boss? What is she doing? What is she like? But the first thing you did was set up one-to-one with each and every one of us. And I think I remember it like this today.
You know, I didn't consciously think about building trust. I just really wanted to get to know the team, who you were, what your passions were, and what you were working on. Plus, I only had 3 months before I went on maternity leave to set everything up. So I just kept it simple. Obviously asked about you and your personal lives, but then also asked 3 work-related questions. What's working well for you here? What's one thing you wish we did differently? And what do you need from me to do your best work?
Yeah, and I really remember that like it was yesterday, because this opened really up and allowed me to ask you question as well. And it was really, really powerful. I think it was actually just what the team needed to feel we were in safe hands. And the key was really that you didn't try to fix everything on the spot, right?
I was new in role. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I just tried to listen, take notes, and say thank you.
But, and this is really the crucial part, 2 weeks later, you came back to the team and said, here's what I heard, and here are the first 2 things I'm going to act on. That was really the turning point where we knew you were actually serious about us and about the care that you've given us.
Well, you all made it easy, right? It was the best team in the world. You were so open and willing to share. And maybe what you needed was just someone to ask the questions and then really listen to your input.
Here is a crucial word, and this works for remote teams too. A recent client of mine actually took over a team. I think that it spanned over across 5 different time zones. Now she blocked out her calendar for video calls with each person, not just for project updates, which was easy to do, but really to learn about them, their career goals, their work-life needs, even small things like remembering someone works late on a Tuesday because of school runs. That showed she was really paying attention, and that is basically the shortcut to trust.
I love that. And it's often the small things that matter the most. It shows that you truly see the other person. And that focus on listening and follow through leads us right into our second point: be consistent and predictable.
It does sound so simple, but it's actually really massive. If you say you do something, do it. If you promise an update by Friday, send it by Friday, or at least follow up if there's something in the way and be transparent about why you couldn't send it on Friday. It's not rocket science, but it's where really you build that reliability based trust we talked about earlier.
And it's not about deadlines, right? It's about your mood and your reactions as well.
Big one.
I once had a leader who was brilliant, but he was completely unpredictable. So one week he was kind of collaborative, energetic, and the next week short tempered and shut down. We as a team, we spent more energy managing his moods than doing our actual work.
Yeah, I've seen it actually too on the other receiving end. I had a manager who did have the reputation of not being the warmest person, but I was able to work with her really well because I felt she was really steady. She knew exactly what you were doing, and you was like, I know what I was going to get with her. She was fair, she was thoughtful, and she was really clear. And that reliability made it so much easier to bring her, for example, if something didn't went very well, without the fear that it would reflect on me. And it's almost like that you could trust her reaction.
Exactly. I mean, when someone's predictable, at least you know what you get. It might not be the perfect match to you, but you kind of know where you have them, right? And then we have the third point: share your humanity and vulnerability. I know this one can make people a little bit nervous, but it's about connection and not about oversharing.
Yeah. And it's so powerful. When I first started working in the UK, it was actually a real eye opener for me. Obviously, coming from a culture in Germany where everyone is heads down, no one kind of like shares their vulnerability. Admitting a mistake or saying I was behind felt really awkward and like a weakness to me. So I would kind of either hide it. But then I noticed that people here in the UK are much more open, and it's now very different. Back then, it was a big shift to see leaders openly share their challenges. And when you actually talk about your experiences, so your successes, but also your failure, that makes you more relatable and people can connect with you on a very different level.
Exactly. And I mean, obviously, there's cultural differences here in what we share and don't share, like across in different countries. But I think the point is that it doesn't have to be a big planned confession. For me, it's about giving my team a user manual for working with me. So I can say I'm open about my strength. It's more in the big picture, the vision, the ideas, the design, but I can really struggle with repetitive tasks and fine details. I mean, you know all about
Yeah.
this, right? So like I tell them my default is to move fast. So I need you to tell me when to slow down. And if I'm getting like, lost up in the clouds, bring me back to the ground. It's an invitation to collaborate with me, not just work for me.
Yeah. And you know what? I remember when we had team meetings, like there were different personalities in the room. And I remember like the people that were kind of like very detail orientated, they sometimes got really frustrated. It's like, oh my God, I'm in a mini group with Camilla, so I have to bring her
Yeah.
down. We talked about it quite consciously, and it was we used that strengths and put the team together of how can we get the best out of the team really. And yeah, it's really good, but it also gives you the permission then to challenge constructively, right? It's always been about really being open about things I'm good at, and I try to convey that as well. Especially me, I'm always saying I to what what you see, and I'm very direct, but then people know what to expect from me, and that makes me kind of like then easier to work with. At least I hope.
Right. No, exactly. And I mean, we're talking about humanity, right? And sometimes that humanity just shows up on its own. So remember during the pandemic when you and the team basically watched Sophia, my daughter, grow up on screen because like the world was shut down, right? So kind of the limit, the boundaries between home and work kind of just really broke down. And for all of us, naturally, right?
Yeah, it just shows we're all a real person. I mean, like, how many times am I on a call and Max jumps on my lap? But it also gives other people then permission to be the same. And it's not about like faking this or forcing those interactions, but it's showing your real you. And that's what builds a vulnerability based trust.
100%.
So shall we go give our listeners some exercise they can try this week?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So exercise number 1. In your next team meeting, start with a one-word check-in. So go around the room and have everyone, including you, share one word that describes how they're feeling about the week. It's quick, it surfaces what's going on under the surface, and it normalizes open communication.
Yeah, and for that one, I actually have a tip. Like, if you sometimes set the tone, if you say in the beginning, and I'm not don't force it if it's not the case, but also share maybe if you're not feeling great in this week, share that as well. Don't almost say like, oh yeah, everything is great. If it's not, people won't believe that. Be really open as well. And that can set the tone for everyone else to open up as well. And
exactly. I mean, Catherine, people will see if you're not feeling okay, right?
Exactly. It's like often we are a mirror in our face, especially I am, of how I feel. And exercise 2, ask your team to do a user manual swap. Everyone writes down a simple one-page guide on how to work best with me, covering kind of like communication style, your preferences, but also your pet peeves. Like for everyone who's not UK, pet peeves are basically things that you don't like or that rail you up. And obviously you have to do 1, 2, of course. And it's really a fun way to avoid those, I wish I'd known that sooner moments that can be sometimes a bit awkward, to be honest.
It's good that you explained the pet peeves because I had no idea what that meant the first time I heard that in a meeting in the UK. But yeah, it's a really good advice.
There's actually a really funny story. Sorry, I'm going to say that. When I was first asked to fill something like that out, a pet peeve, I didn't know what it is, so I just wrote all the pets down that I don't like. And it's actually a running joke.
Yeah, so please make sure everyone understands what the task is.
Yeah.
If you do that. But that brings us to exercise number 3. So run a short listening tour with your team and then circle back. So have one-to-ones where you ask a few simple questions like what's working well, what would they change, and what would they need from you? But the real acceleration is what comes after. So summarize what you heard and share 1 or 2 actions you're taking as a result. That combination of listening and following through is one of the fastest way to build trust.
I love that one. Is where the trust and accountability really meets. And remember, trust isn't built in a single grand gesture. It's built over hundreds small, consistent interactions and moments.
Exactly. So your challenge this week, pick one of those 3 exercises, the one-word check-in, the user manual, or the listening tour follow-up, and try it with your team.
Yeah. And you can always come back to these and to the next exercise over the coming weeks as well. But the important part is that you also reflect. Did people open up? Did you learn something surprising? Did it change how people or your team responded to you? And that is really where the real growth for yourself really happens.
And that's it for today's episode of The Leadership Effect. If you found this useful, please subscribe, share it with another leader, and connect with us on LinkedIn. And you'll find the links in the show notes.
Yeah. And don't forget to leave us a question in the comment. Next time then, Camilla will be talking about how to manage your energy.
Until then, keep leading with curiosity
and courage.